So I'm currently on the friendship bridge between Uzbekistan and Afghanistan, which by all accounts online is closed, but it's very much open to tourists at the moment. Although it's called the friendship bridge, but I don't really see too many friends in sight. Only a handful of people crossing today. Quite incredible views though, it's really beautiful. And the border crossing itself has been really simple. Apparently the Uzbeks are kind of difficult if you're going the other way. They don't like people crossing into the country from Afghanistan, but they didn't give a shit about me leaving. They practically pushed me out the door. So these are pretty much all people leaving. I think it's quite safe to say I'm the only person entering Afghanistan this morning. That guy over there is from the WHO though, so he's getting a photo with the Taliban flag, proving that they care for everyone around the globe, the old World Health Organization. Okay, so I've just had a first look at my hotel room, and it's actually way nicer than I thought it would be. So we got the double bed set up. I think this is a queen, which is way bigger than I was expecting. They're actually pumping the aircon, which is good because it's like 1,000,000 degrees in Mazar Sharif at the moment. We've got the mini fridge. We've got the free bottles of water. It's like a 5-star New York hotel. This, yeah. So Buddy, my guide, has he's just gone off to exchange money, both the money that I owed him and some money for me. And he advised that I wait around in the hotel room and relax for a little bit. But I think we should probably go for a little walk. So I'm going to do that. The streets around my hotel sort of all just look like this. Getting a lot of looks from people, but they're all quite friendly looks. No one seems too upset that I'm here. Oh, that's like a knockoff Monster Energy brand up there. Maybe I'll try one of them later. What I really need to do is get a camise though, because that's what every single bloke is wearing. And I feel like I stick out quite a bit in this Western shirt of mine. So now after a quick pit stop in Mazar, we've made it to the first ever temple in Afghanistan. I think that's right, yeah. Which was also the first ever mosque, because they converted it after the country turned into Islamic State. You can tell the difference on these pillars here. I mean, I can't tell the difference, but the bottom stuff is what's the name of the religion? Zoroast. And the top stuff is Islamic. And it's got a couple of different names. You remind me of the names? I've forgotten already. Haji Piada. No Gumbad.
And you can say
Zoroast Temple. So those are the three. I also got given this cup of tea by the gentleman out front, who are security and part of the new regime. And nice guys. And they make a mean cuppa. So this mosque is named after the first Afghan female poet who fell in love with her slave and as a result slit her wrists and killed herself. So kind of a bleak story around this mosque. Also the gentleman who just the gentleman who just walked in there is some security that we've got from the regime. So the last mosque that we were at, we picked up one of the security outside, and he's going to be accompanying us for my safety. And here is the tomb of the first ever Afghan female poet. So there's a distinct lack of wrists in there. So this entire area used to just be one huge bazaar around the time of Alexander the Great. And it was the first bazaar in the region. And that, I believe, is why the place gets the name Balkh. Because it's the mother of cities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, I've got that right. This guy wants me to ride his horse. And I think, yeah, I should give it a go.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I'll ride the horse. For Afghan Ben, he's being led around. He's not as free as the Kyrgyz horses. He doesn't get to sort of do what he wants. So as I was saying before I was on this horse, all of this over there used to be one humongous bazaar, where it's had all sort of stuff. And it was the biggest in the region. So people came from everywhere, from like modern day Iran, Pakistan, bits of Turkey, Samarkand, Bukhara, and they'd all come here to trade their wares, probably stuff like this horse. Maybe food, clothes, all that sort of thing. And then Alexander the Great came and wrecked it. And now it's just got this guy and his horse. And that big swing. Blasting the tunes there. Being bad boys. I thought it wasn't allowed, the music. Just dropping off the security detail. Okay, so I'm jumping around a lot in this cut, but now we're back in Mazar. We drove the 30 minutes or so, back from Balkh. We made it to the Blue Mosque, which is where they've actually buried the fourth caliph permanently. So this is the mosque itself, and you can see his tomb over here. And the brickwork is pretty fantastic, I've got to say. It's some of the best I've ever seen. Like the blue tiles are pretty great, but the yellow in between when it's like sunset like this makes the entire thing look like yellow overall. Yeah, it's a really, really nice mosque. The actual mosque itself is over there. I'm not allowed in, unfortunately, unless I quickly convert, which, I mean, I guess I could do. But no, unless I go in to pray, there's no foreigners allowed. No heathens like me. No infidels, you might say. So a second ago I had like 20 Afghan guys around me trying to say my name. Apparently it sounds like to throw seeds in in Farsi, curd. So I think that was close enough. Anyway, now we're in the bazaar, which is just on the outskirts of the mosque. Cruising to try find some wares to buy. I don't think I'm going to get the kameez today though. We're going to get that tailor fitted in Kabul tomorrow. So going to look sharp. Alright, so it's a new day in Afghanistan. I'm currently stood on top of the last king of Afghanistan's palace, which is abandoned and left to ruin at the moment. You can see his gardens just down there. Also a bit untended. He could do with a trim of his bush. But this actually wasn't a palace for the entirety of its history. It also became a Soviet military base in the 1930s when Soviet rule came into play. They then obviously were ousted in the sort of early 80s by the Mujahideen, and then it was just sort of left abandoned. So apparently there's a policy here of just leaving historical things as they are instead of doing them up and renovating them. So yeah, you can sort of tell that this has just been left to ruin. It's not very palace-like anymore. Anyway, this is on the way to Kabul. We've just started a 12-hour drive, I want to say, from here all the way to there. So I'm going to take a quick look at the inside of this, see what the Soviets did once they took over, and then we'll be cracking on with what I'm expecting to be quite a long day. So this is a room that was reused by the Soviet military, and we think it was a cinema, right? That's what we think. Based on what some Kazakh people said when they were here. But you can see all over the walls there's ex-Soviet symbols. That's what they are. They're military symbols. And there's a nice painting on the wall just over here. But the entire place seems to be exactly as it was when it was left by the Soviets in, I guess, the late 90s, right? Is when I'd say that was. You can see that is very Soviet right there. So we just arrived at some Buddhist ruins. So there's a temple up there on the top of that hill, and then behind me is an ancient bazaar. But I'm also just going to take the chance to talk about religion in Afghanistan generally a little bit. And I'm going to be quiet because I'm not sure who's in earshot, but you can look at this nice view while I yap. So Afghanistan's a majority Muslim country, as I'm probably pretty sure you all know. Officially about 90%, but you know, what are those other 10% really? I mean, probably either dead or they don't exist. So it used to be a Buddhist country though, which is why there's all these Buddhist ruins around, but that was pretty much scoured from existence around the time the Taliban came back into power. So all of the old statues and stuff have been removed, which isn't great, let's face it. So here's the inside of the Buddhist stupa, and they've actually carved this all the way around. So it's sort of like a big bowl that goes another direction. You can walk around it. It's like a big sort of clock face, I guess. So we'll be coming around 6 to 9 o'clock here. It's not like the most evenly carved in the world, but I'll cut them some slack. It was done about 800 years ago, like 1800 years ago. And also, I think they just use basically like fucking rocks to do this. So it's a better job than I could have done. Stupa is a place of Buddhist worship though, so that would have been right up on the top here. But that's long gone, sadly. It was removed when the new religion came to be. Yeah, this goes all the way around, and it's covered in rubbish as well, quite sadly. You see some cigarette packets down there, so someone's been smoking blems and not cleaning up after themselves. So now we come down into the bazaar that you can see from up above, but now we're in the sort of like temple section of that, I guess, where people used to worship. And there used to be a lot of statues of Buddha right there where those holes are, but as I was talking about, they're not really very popular anymore, so they've been removed. You can also see some of the original paintwork up there, but it's been smoked out, so presumably someone had a bonfire here, or a barbecue or something, and it's sort of fucked the whole thing up. Yeah, so this is now completely empty, but you have to sort of imagine that even 30 years ago, each of these shelves would have had someone in them, probably lined with all sorts of knickknacks, goods, tat, you might say. And it used to be a really popular local bazaar. but it's been discontinued for about 30 or 40 years now, and now is essentially a historical site, and it sounds like that's not going to change anytime soon. No. So we just stopped for a bit to have a little picnic just over there. We've got the bread, the banana, the eggs, we've got the nuts, everything unlocked. But I also just wanted to show off some of the nature that you get in Afghanistan. So I knew it was meant to be beautiful, but I didn't really expect it to be like fairy tale meadows, like green babbling brooks sort of beautiful. That was a bit unexpected. There's also like just around this corner a snow-capped mountain, which I really wasn't expecting. You can't really see that from here, sadly. There's some farmers just over there though, and there were some cows walking past a second ago. But yeah, really nice scenic place to stop, but unfortunately on the other side it's just heaps and heaps of lorries going by. This seems to be like a really common route. So I just found out there that all of these trucks only go one way on any given day. So at the moment they're all going towards Kabul, but tomorrow, because the tunnel is narrow and the roads are really thin, all of the trucks go the other way. So they alternate to stop collisions and delays. I mean, that happened to me in Georgia once. I got stuck for ages because there were two trucks that got stuck going in opposite directions on the thin Soviet highway. So it's a pretty clever system. Okay, so it's 5 hours later and we've arrived in Kabul, and my back is killing me from that drive, but I arrived to get a camise fitted. So we've come to a specialist tailor because I'm too big, I'm too fat for a off the hook sort of camise here. So instead I'm getting one made specially. Okay, so that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. That's sort of finished before I even realised it had begun. I was going to record the measuring, but he's clearly done that before, because that took, what, like 2 minutes, I'd say? It'll be good to have the camise though, because I think it'll help me blend it a bit more. Although, in Kabul it seems like there's a lot more people in Western clothing than there was in Mazar. Right, so I've literally just stepped through the door of my hotel. Wow, I look terrible. Literally just got back to the hotel. It's got one of those like airport security things on the door, which is quite cool to like scan your bags and stuff, and like scan you, and also like 2 huge guys carrying guns. But that's pretty par for the course here. The hotel room, very nice again though. I mean, I think this one's like $20 a night, but I got 2 beds. I mean, it's just me. I'm all on my own. But I can use the other one for activities. Yeah, nice enough though. No complaints. Bit of a underwhelming day, I guess, when you just spent 14 hours in a car. It was cool. I saw quite a lot. Like, it was interesting to see the Taliban checkpoints more as well. They're some of them were a lot stricter than others. I feel like there's no like hard and fast rules with how to engage with the Taliban here. Like, some of them would literally just wave us through without saying anything. Other ones wanted to see my passport, my visa, like their like guide license, the driving license, the car registration, like literally any document you can name. They wanted to see it. And those guys always tended to be like covered in the face as well, so they looked a lot scarier. But yeah, hoping tomorrow to get a bit more content actually engaging with people in the street.